Hey guys, Ducati Fratelli here, and I wanted to just make a quick video on what I bring for the average weekend to play and exactly why I bring it. So, starting with the gear bag itself, I really like these old Planet Eclipse lowland gear bags. They don't really make them anymore. I was told the reason is that they're too expensive to ship from overseas, and it doesn't make sense. So the reason I like this is the entire inside has this water-resistant, dirt-resistant material. It has a lot of different separate compartments that are specific to paintball. Particularly these here. It's a center compartment that fits paintball gun cases perfectly, and then it seals on top. So, especially if you're running Planet Eclipse guns, it fits two really easily. So, as far as what's in the gear bag itself, I've got some swabs, some gloves, a little notebook. I've got a chronograph in here, which is one of the most important tools you can really have when teching guns or shooting problems. So really recommend having one of these if you want to be able to troubleshoot things. Outside of that, I've got a few extra swabs. This is a pod swab, rag, and then a tech mat. When it comes to the markers themselves, I always bring two, and it varies quite a bit based on just what I'm feeling and all of that. Right now, for this weekend, I was gonna bring my M2, which is one of my favorite shooting guns of all time. And then my go-to for tournaments or for any kind of competition is gonna be the CS3 Pro. This is probably what I'll use for the remaining tournaments of the year, and definitely one of my favorite shooting guns. I primarily shoot this or the R5 in tournaments. So, always two guns, usually one Planet Eclipse gun, and then another variety. When it comes to loaders, I'm always going to bring two. It's another piece of gear that historically has more problems than other pieces of gear, and I think it's always good to have two. My primary is going to be the Spire 5, and then I'll also bring a rotor as a backup, or if I'm shooting a die gun, I've found the rotor fits the feed necks on die guns quite a bit better. So I haven't had issues with either loader, but I do like the Spire because it holds a bit more paint, it's a little bit lighter, and it's less likely to jam. The only downside is that it's noisier, which doesn't really matter. When it comes to the tank, I'm running a infamous 80 CI flyweight tank with a Powerhouse counterpunch rag set to about 450 PSI. And then I like these rubber tank covers. Sometimes I'll run the XL silicone one, but right now I've been liking these tank covers from Infamous. And then I put those in the Pro DNA tank case just to keep it from bouncing around in the gear bag. When it comes to the mask, it's gonna be dependent on weather and just preference, which color I use, but the mask itself is always gonna be a Proflex. So we're a Twister team, so I run the Revos. Depending on just preference, weather, I'll run either the clear, the matte, or the smoke with a variety of different lenses. This weekend in particular, it's gonna be raining a little bit and pretty cloudy. So I'm running the smoke to clear transition lens. All of the frames are gonna be the thin frames that were released recently from Twister and Proflex Builder. These are matte because I had Joseph Pitts on Facebook matte each one of these. I believe it was around $25 each, but they look just like the original thin frames that were made back in the day. So I'll always bring one of these masks, usually two, just in case. And then when it comes to lenses, I have a decent variety to pick from here. If I'm playing nightball, I'll run the clear. Depending on the weather, if it's super sunny, I'll do mirrored. Sometimes I'll do just smoke. If I'm running the meta glasses that day, I'll make sure to try and do a smoke lens or something clear. I also like to bring a barrel kit. So in general, I don't like using these stock barrels, not because there's anything wrong with them, but I like to keep those as mint as possible. That way, if I do ever sell the guns, there's no wear or tear that's been shown. So I've got a carbon, got some inserts, got a die barrel back. This one's actually silver to match the Ollie Lang Ironman DM9 back, where the original one's titanium. That way I can run it with inserts while still looking the same. When it comes to the tips, I've got a tip that was anno matched for that die gun in the closet, another dyed barrel front, and then the Carbon Nano and the Planet Eclipse Nano Pro tip. So I'll always bring that. When it comes to the pack, there's two that I'll switch between. If I'm running a strapped pack, it's going to be this JT Twister pack. This is the most recent one that's convertible between strapped and strapless. I really like this so far. No complaints if I'm running a strapped pack. If I'm running strapless, I will say my favorite right now is the Kinetic pack, and I had all these made with the custom Fratelli patch. Probably the most comfortable pack overall, so really like these. As far as pods, I'm running the Bunker Kings pods, and I've used these for a very long time. The reason I like these is they're a lot stronger than the Gen X pods and every other pod. The lid doesn't open quite as easily, it doesn't protrude as much, so when you're running a strapless pack, it's less likely to catch or just open accidentally. It also has these foam inserts that come stock with them that prevents the balls from rattling around as much. So those have been my preference for a while. I try to clean them every time. I always have a bunch of microfibers with me. You can never have too many of those, whether for lenses, gear, wiping hits off, always good to have. Elbow pads are going to be the Pro DNA. This is my second pair that I've had. These are by far my favorite. I'd say the close second would be the dye pads, but I get more bounces off of these than anything else, so definitely my favorite pads. I like to run this Bunker King tank top with the little padding on the side. Gets me quite a few bounces off my sides, and nobody likes getting shot in the side where it tends to hurt a bit more, so I think it's kind of nice to have. I don't run it every time, but I try to. Got this carbon underwear, the Pro DNA leggings, my favorite overall pads, though I'm gonna try running the Hydra knee pads on top of these to give me a little extra knee protection. When it comes to the pants, I'm running the new Twister JT pants. Got a little bit of wear on them. These have been super comfortable. I really like the fit compared to the old ones, and they look pretty cool. Jersey is going to be our team jersey, which I did a video showing the unboxing of. Really like the new JT jerseys. A lot thinner than the previous ones. They don't get nearly as hot. Got a bunch of jerseys here that I'm handing out to the rest of the team. Some Riva bottoms, some thins. I always like having a spray bottle on me. Sometimes a rag is not enough to completely get a hit off, or just to really make it clear that you don't have any fresh hits. So I like using this. When it comes to pants, I'll occasionally run the Kinetic pants as well. Got the Fratelli tan ones, some black, Kinetic hoodie, which is nice. And then I typically play in a t-shirt unless we're playing an event. But I've got a few jerseys here. I've got one from Cody Woodruff. Got the Twister shirts. Got some custom Defy Hormesis WC event shirt. Yosh Rao jersey. Hormesis jersey. The original Fratelli jersey. And then our jersey from the last tournament. As far as headgear with the masks, it's one of the things that I like collecting a little bit. So depending on the weekend, I'll just choose a variety from here. I always run at least one bandana or head wrap. I had these custom Fratelli ones made utilizing the vintage tree trunk pattern. I wanted to have something that looked just like what Oliver Lane used to wear. So had those made, and then I'll run a variety of headbands. We've got Hormesis, Tiger Wear, Hormesis, Sandana, Hormesis, Tiger Wear. This is actually a vintage brown leaf Sandana. Got a vintage hard tree, I think, Sandana, and then a Twister headband. But depending on the weekend and depending on what I'm feeling, I'll use a variety of that stuff. Got quite a few more in the closet too. Last but not least, I guess we got the caddy, but that doesn't need a whole lot said. I always like having a toolkit. I don't like when my gear goes down. I don't like when anybody who I'm playing with has their gear go down. But if it does, I like to be prepared for that. So in the toolkit, I've got a muffler for dry firing, some clean swabs, Allen keys, foam-tipped Q-tips that won't leave any cotton fibers if you're cleaning like a solenoid or anything where it needs to be very, very clean. Got a tool for draining a tank reg pressure tester,
plastic fork for swapping straps on JT masks. If you know, you know. Got different kinds of grease, oil, toothbrush, a super soft bristled toothbrush for cleaning anything you possibly could want on the gun and the nooks and crannies. Pliers, plastic tip pliers so it doesn't scratch any sensitive areas on the gun. Tools for adjusting the output pressure in the tank. Allen key for adjusting the velocity on a gun. Regular Q-tips, die multi-tool, anything you could think of to fix a gun, right there. So that's kind of what I'll bring for the average weekend of play. I've got quite a few more guns in the closet that I'll swap between. I've got a Field 1 Force, DSR, Geo R5, and so, like I said, depending on the weekend, I'll swap between what's calling my name. So if you guys have any questions on any of the gear or want to see anything more in depth, just feel free to comment and I'll make a video about it. Thanks.